Howdy everybody, welcome back to Tuesday Guusday. Today we're going to be going over Infernoble yet again because there are some extra things to talk about that I haven't seen any of the other like Infernoble Yugi tubers. I haven't seen them really talking about this, but it is options to win in time with Infernoble because the deck on its own just generically doesn't have any kind of life gain or burn effects built in. In fact, the museum actually burns you for 12, so this deck is not great in time at a baseline. But thankfully, we do have some side deck options for us that can help us win in time. One of them is Black Pendant, which is just straight up. It's an equip spell that says when this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, burn for 500. And we also have a Noble Arms, funnily enough, that once per turn you can gain 500, and that is a soft once per turn. So there are upsides and downsides to each one of these. The Black Pendant can be used during the end phase. So what you can do is you can go for the full combo, and then during the end phase, or send the Black Pendant off of Isolde, and then during the end phase, use your Charlemagne to equip the pendant, and then use the other effect to then pop the pendant to burn for 500. Alternatively, if you just want to like quickly burn for 5, you can just straight up make Isolde, use the effect, dump the pendant, summon the Renaud, and then equip the pendant, and then link off these two or just anything like Swordsman or whatever, another Isolde. And then this will then trigger Pendant to just burn for 5. So it's like a super quick and easy way to burn for 5. Like if time is coming up really quick and you just want like a quick way to go ahead and close out the game, you can do that. You know, or you can just do your full combo if you want to like waste some more time. You know, like let's say you have like 5 minutes left on the clock. You can go full combo, send the pendant, and then just pop it during the end phase with Charles after you equip it with Charles. So then your opponent has like barely any time left. You just burned them for 5. You know, you're chilling. You don't really have to go through any like hoops and jumps in order to do it. You can just kind of do your regular combo and then burn for 5. Alternatively, we do have the Caliburn, which has a few more interesting applications. For one thing, it is not once per turn. It gains you life instead of burns for life. So it can be used under Dark Ruler to win in time. So if you're going second, your opponent puts up like a full board and they can't take any damage for the rest of the turn. So you can Dark Ruler and then still use Caliburn in order to gain life. So here's an interesting application for Caliburn. Let's say we use any of our starters. This can be the new Battle and Boxer stuff. It can be, you know, Neospace Connector, you know, basically just any way to get into Isolde, right? So we can use Isolde. What we're going to do is we're going to send 4. We're going to send 4 of our equip spells, including the Caliburn, that you're probably going to side in, to summon Ogier, dump Turpin, use Phoenix Blade to add back, use Phoenix Blade to equip, special Turpin from grave, and then go into the Artorigus. Now Artorigus is going to equip all 3 of our Noble Arms. So we get the Durandal, the Joyeuse, and the Caliburn here. So what we can do is go ahead and use the Caliburn once to go ahead and gain 500. Then we can use the Artorigus effect, detach a material, to pop the Caliburn, because once per turn, if this card is destroyed, you can re-equip it to a Noble Knight. So if you pop it with the Artorigus, you can then re-equip it, and then use the effect again to gain another 500. And if you need even more life points, like, right, let's say your opponent does like Longwan and burns you for 12, you need like 300 more life points, right? So what we can do is we can use the Durandal that we equipped to add Renaud, link off these two for whatever. We can then special the Renaud, add back the Caliburn, and then use the Caliburn for a third time to gain another 500. So now we're all the way up to 95, which out heals a lot of like burn spells, right? Like I think the only thing that this doesn't out heal or out burn is Red Resonator targeting Gigantic Sprite, because that gets 16. So unfortunately it does not beat the Red Resonator, but it beats pretty much anything else, right? It beats Cowboy, it beats Longwan, it ties with Heavy Borger, so at least you'll get a tie instead of a loss. Plus, if you hard draw it, technically you can go all the way up to 10,000, right? Because you can do all the same stuff that I just showed you, but then you get like that first effect. So I think technically you can gain up to 2,000 life off of Caliburn. And the really cool thing about Caliburn is that it's just straight up a Noble Arms card, right? So you can search it with Heritage, so it gives you extra copies of it if you want to do the 2,000 life point gain, or if your opponent like interrupts your Isolde combo, you can still search it and then try to gain 500 life or whatever. And if you are able to activate it at least 3 times, you can out heal the burn damage from the museum, which is nice because the museum can by itself search the Caliburn. So if you have to start with Museum, search Caliburn, and then you can use it, you know, at least 3 times, and it will offset the life points you paid and should put you over your opponent. So that's really cool. It's cool that Noble Knights just have like an in-archetype way to win in time. Because in the past, what I would go for is just like Pendant Burn, because it was super easy back in the day, back in 2020, to just Isolde effect, send this, add it back with Renaud, and then burn for 5 really quick. But nowadays, people are, you know, a lot more wary of time rules, so people are gonna have options to win in time these days. So I think Caliburn being able to gain upwards of 2,000 life, while also being able to use Dark Ruler on the same turn, I think Caliburn is probably going to be the way to go for the future. So that's pretty much all I had to talk about regarding this video. Caliburn is good. Black Pendant is alright if you want to play that instead. And Infernoble is really fun. And it's cool that they have options in time. Because unfortunately, not every deck gets free wins in time these days. But it's cool that this deck has a pretty accessible option. So see ya.